What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Counting Wisdom podcast. I wanted to just give a little bit of an opinion on the Apple Vision Pro, just to kind of be a little bit trendy here in regards to some of the new technology. Now, I'm not anti-technology, but some of the things that I see people, the big tech people, not that I'm against the big tech people either, but some of the things, seem to be more and more crazy. And, I think that, obviously the Bible has something to say about definitely, some specific technology and how it's used, especially in regards to idol worship and, different things in regards to where technology, fits in our heart and in our walk with God. And so, I wouldn't necessarily make a podcast or really try to do anything in relation to the Bible in regards with technology, just because they're not necessarily related all the time. I mean, of course, yeah, I mentioned a little bit about idols, but, in general, most of our technology doesn't necessarily seem to be, that big of a problem. But, when you start getting into things like artificial intelligence and, some of the new things in regards to robotics. And so, I had a call come into my phone, so I had to pause this for a second because I'm making this on my phone. But I sort of lost my train of thought. So let me just go into the Apple Vision Pro. So, I think, one of the things that I want to say is, I believe that God speaks to us in many different ways. And I have a little bit of my own personal thoughts in regards to even music and the music of unbelievers. Sometimes, I feel like when you hear certain songs, it feels like God is actually, talking to them or giving them the lyrics in a way. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but anyway, not in a good way. I feel like God is sometimes, speaking in a certain type of way in regards to unbelievers and, some of the things that they come up with, just because I know one Bible verse sort of says how, the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. And so, anyway, that's not what this podcast is specifically about. But, I wanted to talk about how I believe God speaks to us in different ways. And so one of the things that I believe the Apple Vision Pro is sort of saying is, I feel like it looks like horse blinders. I feel like it looks and it represents how people are sort of blind to reality, and blind to the things of God. And, they are, covering their eyes, so to speak, and, trying to make their own reality. And, I'm not saying that's what it is, because there's been, I never made a podcast on, the other thing like the Oculus. I thought the Oculus, when that came out, was pretty cool, but, I see that, some of these things are becoming more dynamic, and so I feel like, one of the things that God is sort of saying with this is that, people are sort of blind to, the things of God. And especially when you talk about maybe unbelievers who, seem to have, very high position in this world, but yet are, one of the least people to even speak the truth about Jesus Christ, speak the truth about the Bible. And, one of the things that I was saying in my other podcast that I'll just touch on a bit right here is just how, it seems like people are so smart these days. And you can see, especially when you watch end times videos, specifically from people who, make end times videos to show the signs of the times, and you see the world unraveling, and you see how chaotic it is, and, there's different crimes happening, and yet all of a sudden we come out with these crazy technology of, artificial intelligence and, Chat GTP and, the Apple Vision Pro, and it's like, it's so strange of a paradox in a way. And at least this is just my little observation of how, you have, the world sort of unraveling on different levels, but yet, we can come out with some cool tech. And, hey, if the Apple Vision Pro was, pretty cool, if it turns out to be pretty cool, I might buy one myself. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm against it, but, I think it has some implications as far as, some of what reality is, as far as, when you actually look at, I don't know, it gets crazy, because when you actually look at some of the things that people are trying to do, some of the sci-fi movies and some of the sci-fi things that we would sort of, maybe years ago, joke about, like, oh, let's merge our brains with, artificial intelligence and try to become smarter, or, let's use some of our body parts and, try to, replace maybe missing limbs with robotics. Okay, hey, if someone needs an arm, that's not too bad. But, when you start to try to improve on people that don't necessarily have something wrong with them, you're just trying to enhance the human race and ultimately probably try to figure out eternal life. I think there's so many implications that some of these seemingly, not really a big deal technologies, they kind of come out with. And so, I think that we today sort of need to, as if there's any Christians listening to this, need to realize that, so many things in, in technology, I think, do have a bigger implication on, life, and so that's what I want to say about Apple Vision Pro. I think that so many people are trying to sort of escape what reality is, and it's no longer becoming more of a, kind of, something to just entertain yourself, something to kind of pass the time. I feel like some of these technologies are sort of merging into kind of more serious things and more serious implications. It's kind of like, when you first start maybe playing with a buddy or something, and you're play fighting, and then all of a sudden it turns into a real fight, and it turns into, something more serious or something. I feel like technology is sort of like that, where, we're starting to kind of, have certain things that don't really seem like a big deal, but then you start getting into more and more kind of serious things, especially when you talk about, the book of Revelation and, the mark of the beast, and, buying and selling without, without a credit card or cash or anything like that. And I think obviously, some of these concepts aren't necessarily evil in itself. I think it's just some of what it represents. Like, obviously buying or selling, without a cash or a card or something, and you just, maybe have a mark on your hand or something, that's not necessarily evil in of itself, right? I mean, you can't really think of anything that's evil, but, obviously the Bible tells us more of the story that, it comes with, worshiping the Antichrist and, pledging your allegiance basically to the devil. And that's what it's really about. And so I think when you talk about even robotics and stuff like that, I'm not against robots, and if I could buy a robot or something that was actually, pretty efficient and stuff, I don't really see anything, too much of a problem with that. But when you start to get into, more serious things of like, people being replaced by robots, maybe someone even marrying a robot or having sex with a robot, some of those more serious things that kind of like cross into, sort of morals and, sort of idol worship and different things like that. And especially when you think about, the image of the beast in Revelation 13, is it, some sort of, artificial intelligence type thing? Some of these things, really make you think. And so, again, the Apple Vision Pro sort of, if I were to think about it, from, their perspective of there being a God, it seems like sometimes God is sort of making fun of people, unbelievers, in such a way of like, you guys are blind to reality and you're trying to put something over your eyes just because you do not want to submit to Jesus Christ and, follow after what is good. You want to continue in sin. You want to continue in darkness. And, you just refuse to come to the light and allow Jesus Christ to give us a new body, to allow him to make a new heavens and a new earth, allow him to change the world in his own time. And so, anyway, thanks so much for checking this out. Hopefully this was interesting to someone. Maybe if you take a look at Apple Vision Pro, you can maybe come to some of these conclusions. I know some of these are, some of the things that I said maybe a little bit crazy sounding, but anyway, thanks so much, and I will talk to you on the next one. See ya.